Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Run It Back. I am Lou Will. This is my brother Boogie Cousins. This is my brother Chandler Parsons. Beetle couldn't be with us today, but she'll be back with us at the top of the week.
Where's Beetle at?
Oh man, that's a question to be asked.
Wish you the best, B.
Wish you the best,
Bees in every possible
We'll catch you this weekend in Vegas. We'll talk about it over a nice drink. Fellas, we made it to Thursday. We had some really good games last night. Teams punched their tickets to go to the NBA Cup. Let's start with the Lakers and the Spurs, Chandler.
Yes, sir. It was a little ugly, and it got ugly quick. A little resilient comeback there for the Lakers towards the end there, but they are on their way to Vegas. 132-119. Stephon Castle, 30, 10, and 6. De'Aaron Fox, 20. Luka did have 35, 8. LeBron, 19 and 15. But Boogie, I want to start with you. Were you surprised, just given the state, given the the magnitude of this game to advance to Vegas, how lopsided this game was?
Am I surprised? No. And the reason I say that is this Spurs team is real deal. I think they're slowly starting to make a case as being a real threat in the West this season. And we've talked about them a lot this year, but the narrative has more so been, this is a team to look out for the future. The future is bright, but no, I think this is a team that's ready right now. And they did all this last night without their best player being on the floor in Wemby. So this team is real deal. They're continuing to show that. I love what I'm seeing. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, the big trade piece that they acquired last season, and he's doing minimum work. No disrespect, but it's minimum work, and it just goes to show how talented this team is this season. So
you know what? I am though. I thought the Lakers were going to put up a bigger fight than this. When the lights are bright, the Lakers are usually a team that wants to be a part of the show, especially something that's exciting as the NBA Cup going down in Vegas. But I thought the Spurs, their pace was too fast for them. They got a bunch of shots up. They were shooting it early in the shot clock. And the way that the Lakers are built and how their team was, they just didn't respond well to how loose and confident that the Spurs were last night. So give the young guys credit. Even Wemby being out of the lineup, everybody is stepping up in a big way, especially Stephon Castle. It was great to see him have a big night. But like I said, I thought the Lakers were going to put up more of a fight than they did last night.
How much of the Spurs age, being more hungry to get to Vegas in this play-in tournament, how much did that play in a factor versus an older, experienced team with the guys that make a lot more money? The incentive of $500K doesn't really mean that much to them. Did that factor in at all to this?
I think it's more so this is just a young group that's out here trying to prove themselves every night. Like I said, the conversation has been a young team full of potential, but no, they're trying to make the case that we're ready to do this season. And on top of that, it's hard for the Lakers to actually put up a fight against a team like the Spurs with a top 20 defense. Their defense is their glaring hole right now. Offense, everything is flowing. They got the three-headed monster in Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron. But the defense is the glaring hole for the defense, and that was part of the glaring hole for this team, and that's part of the problem and the results of last night.
I thought they were motivated to get to Vegas.
Lakers.
Listen, even when I looked at the OKC game and I watched Shai in his post game, he said it was a little money on the line. Even the MVP is mindful that there's a goal here, and we talked about it. When we're competitive people, and it's anything that's on the line that we can win or we can accomplish, we want that, right? And so when I looked at the Spurs last night, they looked like a young team that wanted to have a week in Vegas to have an opportunity to win some money, have an opportunity to have some fun, and take a break within the season and just have an opportunity to really enjoy themselves somewhere different in the market that they're not usually in.
Also, as part of it, LeBron and Luka, these guys trying to get that bonus for Dalton Connect, trying to get that bonus for Jake LaRavia that haven't made that type of bread?
I think we've gotten to the point they want it for themselves now.
They just go to Vegas during the season. So.
Yeah, we heard it. Josh Hart last year said, I want that watch. We heard, Austin Reeves, I want to be a part of this particular golf club.
Bobby Portis redid his mom's
Bobby
crib.
Portis did his, $500K is a lot of money to anybody. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what's on your contract. A free $500,000 that's not on the books that you can go out and spend and do what you want to do with it. I'm motivated to go grab that.
So a game like this with a young team like the Spurs, how much of a confidence boost is this to get over the Lakers, knock off LeBron, knock off Luka on the road, and now get a chance to face the odds-on favorite to win it all this year?
I think this is exactly what they want. And on top of that, without Wemby, I think this is exactly what they want. They'll continue to improve throughout the season. This is a momentum boost for them. And obviously, it helps that team and the camaraderie. So I think this team will continue to grow this season. and only continue to get better.
Yeah, it helps. And we talked about it. How were they going to survive with Wemby being out of the lineup? Well, they've proven it. We're a really good basketball team. So imagine what they're going to look like in Vegas with a possibility of having him back in the lineup and them having the momentum going in their direction. So, listen, we can say what we want about the NBA Cup, but I look forward to it, man. We got some really good basketball that's coming up in the next few days out in Vegas with some of the marquee guys we want. So I hope Wemby is back in the lineup. I would love to see a matchup with all of the stars and all of the young guys that's coming in the league. We talked about it being a changing of the guard, it being new energy around it, and it's showing. The proof is in the pudding of the guys that's in Vegas.
And we know how good these guards are with Stephon Castle, Harper, Fox, and there were some questions early on, like how can they fit together? Where are we going to play De'Aaron Fox? I think people forgot how good he is. How much of a luxury is that to have those three guards, especially when Wemby's out and they go smaller and deeper, and they still have Champagnie and Keldon Johnson and these guys off the bench being productive as well.
I mean, this is exactly the reason they traded for De'Aaron.
Are we looking at the next trio here? Is this the next Tony, Kawhi,
Absolutely.
Ginobili?
And I think it's dope, too, because I saw Stephon Castle's interview, and after the game, his words were, nobody cares about the shine. You know, we just want to win. Nobody cares who's having the big night. And that's exactly the message you want with a young team and also a team that's having a chance to compete later on in the year.
Yeah, this is a nice trio. I would stray away from comparing them to that trio.
Yeah.
That's a championship group right there. I would stray away from that. But you love what they're doing. You love how they're playing together and what they're building as a young core of guys. You know, their legacy is still being mapped out. They're still building bricks towards that. So I like the fact that they're there. But I want to switch directions with you guys and ask, because Castle and Harper, they've been mentioned in conversations based around Giannis, if that's a possibility, if that's going to be something. But a big win like that, do you guys think that helps close the door on those type of conversations?
Here's the thing. To think about Giannis and Wemby on the floor together is awesome, especially the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, however long Giannis is going to be the Giannis we know today. Now, when I see games like last night and I see the jump and the versatility that Stephon Castle has and the way Dylan Harper's continued to get better and better and the things I've seen De'Aaron Fox do for years and that core with Sohan and Keldon Johnson and Vassell, like, they've built something so special there, homegrown, all there, all bought in. Like you said, they don't care about who gets the credit. They don't care about who's the leading scorer that day. They just play hard and they win. So, yes, it's appealing to go and get a Giannis, but, like, you've built this from scratch, and you're just going to give up on that when the future is so bright and you're good enough now to compete? Boogie said before the game he thinks the Spurs might be the second best team in the West right now.
Absolutely.
And that's over the Lakers, over the Nuggets, over the Rockets. So I do think you got to look at all options, but I'm on the fence now because I've seen too much. I've seen too much potential, and I've seen too much production right now to not let this play out, not let this core continue to grow and really contend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think you hit it right on the head. And as far as, you know, making a move like a Giannis, that's a big splash. And for me, that's not something you do mid-season. That's an off-season type of move.
Right.
So I do think, you know, with that big win last night, if I'm the Spurs, I want to see how this season finishes out. I want to see what this product looks like throughout the rest of the season before I go and make a huge decision with trying to go add a guy like Giannis. So I think this young team has shown that they are the real deal. They have all the potential in the world, and this isn't something that, you know, we have to look forward to 2, 3, 4 years from now. This is something that can happen this season.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you both. Like, if I'm gonna build this thing from ground up, why am I gonna sell it off now when I'm starting to see the fruits of the labor, when I'm starting to see our young guys develop into the young stars of it all? But Chandler, I want to ask you on the flip side of it, on the Lakers side. Rich Paul earlier this week, he got some pushback about the Lakers possibly not being a contender. He didn't feel like they had enough. Did this game last night kind of prove him right a little bit?
They looked a little exposed last night, and I think defensively, when you have guys like Austin Reeves and Luka that have such a high rate, they're never going to be an elite defensive team. I think right now they're 21st in efficiency, they're 18th ranked defensive rating. So they're so good offensively, we know that. They're going to score a lot of points. Luka, Austin Reeves, whatever you can get from LeBron at this point, being a point forward, is going to help. But I do see, and I look in the market, and I see like a Herb Jones. I see like a 3-and-D guy that can clamp and really relieve the pressure from Austin Reeves, from Luka, for them to kind of take the next step. Now, we always talk about the West. We know how good the Thunder are. They're on pace for a historic season. The Nuggets are really, really good. The Rockets are really, really good. So after those 3 teams, and the Spurs are right there, like Boogie said, but are they a contender? I agree with Rich Paul. I don't think they are right now. I think they are a dangerous out. I'd hate to have to play this team and beat them 4 times in the playoffs, but they are missing something, and that is a defensive wing that can go in lockdown and really allow those 2 guards to do what they do and go get that easy 30, 40 points a night.
Did you play with Herb Jones?
I didn't.
Okay.
That is a Bama boy, though, so
okay.
He gets all my love.
Roll Tide.
But I got a lot of backlash last week when I said the Lakers were, more of a middle of the pack team, and I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. But when I say middle of the pack, they're in that 4, 5, 6 range, and the reason I say that is because of that glaring hole with their defense, being ranked 18th, 20th in defensive efficiency. That's just not the recipe for competing for a championship this season.
And this is a Luka type team, right? Obviously they went to the finals in Dallas, but can you win, Lou, like just outscoring teams like they're trying to do? Can they sustain that for 82 games and win a championship playing that way?
Yeah, like
think about it. They've given up
Yeah.
120 points or more to the Jazz, the Pelicans, and the Kings this year, and so they're not getting stops.
Like I said, man, the pace last night for the Spurs, it looked alarming to me. Like, the Lakers did look a step slower than the Spurs. Even when the Lakers started to make some runs, got some stops, and were able to get out and get transition layups, the Spurs were just pushing it right back up their backs and getting layups as well. And so when you have young teams like that, that's going to constantly put pressure on you on the defensive end, you got to find those guys that's going to be able to help you finish some of those things. One of the positives last night, though, the old man was out last night.
Yes.
I want to take a look at this video, man. LeBron caught our guy Luke Cornett slipping at the rim last night. This was good to see.
Just another one bites the dust. And look, me and Boogie were talking about this. This isn't like a vintage LeBron elbow over the rim dunk, but it is crazy to see him get downhill, and that reaction says it all.
No, that's pure. Listen, that is pure excitement because he hadn't been over the rim in this fashion in a very, very long time.
By the way, blowing by Vassell is almost more impressive than dunking on Cornette in this thing. You still got that
well,
burst.
That ain't a blow by. It took him 2 dribbles to get past. Listen, in the pass, this LeBron James, that's 1 dribble, and I'm on top of the rim,
Absolutely.
and I'm dunking on whoever's there. It took him 2 dribbles to get there, and about a 25-inch vert to get over
The
the
fact that he's just doing that still at this age,
it's amazing.
I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
All right, well, there was another game, kind of, last
talk
night.
about it.
Suns at Thunder, and this one got ugly, and it got ugly quick. Thunder blew out the Suns to reach Vegas 138-89. That is a 49-point dub. SGA 28-8. This is 96 straight game with 20-plus. Chet 24-8. Jalen Williams 15-5-5. Obviously, no Devin Booker, no Jalen Green. It's the fewest points by the Suns this season and the fewest allowed by the Thunder. Now, the Thunder have won 16 straight to improve to 24-1. Now tied for the Warriors for their glorious season. Is it a foregone conclusion that they're breaking the record? Like, is it for sure happening? Obviously, there's a lot of basketball played left.
I don't see anything stopping them. And,
I think we
usually somebody can say the only thing can stop them are themselves. I don't see that
exactly
either.
what I'm about to say.
I don't see that either.
That's exactly what I'm about to say.
This team is so disciplined. They're so together. They're all about winning. They love, being teammates. This is literally the perfect team. This is a coach's dream. So I don't see that changing. I don't see anybody getting in their way of breaking that record. And I think the record is theirs to have.
Yeah, I don't see anybody beating them besides the injury bug. I think the injury bug is the only thing that can derail this basketball team, and it's going to have to be the injury bug that's going to be at the top. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to jinx anybody, but when you watch this basketball team play, they've shown you they can withstand guys being in and out of the lineup and still be a really good basketball team. Now you look around the league and you start looking at other teams and the way that they play, like, you telling me this wasn't a motivated team to try to get to this NBA Cup and play when you go out and beat a team in a deciding game by 50-plus points and you withhold that 50-point game by 3 quarters almost when you're playing this basketball game. So that tells me that this is a team that's focused. They're very intentional about how they approach basketball games and how they've approached this season. Last year, we knew how good they were. They're an even better basketball team this season, and that's what makes this whole thing scary when it comes to OKC, man.
It's crazy because they have 0 holes, right? They're so good offensively, they're so deep, they're so good defensively, and when you look at the schedule, right? Like, oh, that schedule is hard for this team. This is a favorable schedule. Their only loss to the Blazers, by the way. It's on the second night of a back-to-back.
Which is crazy.
It was by 2 points. Look at the schedule. I mean, I immediately see I see a couple things. I see the back-to-back on the Spurs, second night of the Grizzlies. The Spurs playing them 3 times in the next 10 games. I gotta imagine they maybe get one of those. Also, huge schedule flop, mix-up by the NBA here, putting the NBA games first Thunder 2 days before Christmas and then running it back on Christmas. That was a botched job. But where's the next loss? Like, I can't be like, oh, you know what? They're gonna lose to the Clippers.
Oh no,
they're gonna lose to the Hawks.
I was about to say, but it's some challenges there. Like you said, seeing the Spurs 3 times in your next 10.
That would be my only guess. Would be the Spurs on December 23rd.
You listen, that Knicks Magic matchup, one or the other, out in Vegas is possibly going to be something that you got to look at. You got to look at the Timberwolves as well and how they've been able to play. Then at the bottom of that schedule, after that Christmas break, maybe somebody catch them slipping. Maybe the Sixers catch them slipping. Maybe the Hawks catch them slipping. The Blazers are so far the only team to be able to do it. Maybe they run it back and they be the team that has the matchup.
Them twice?
That, every once in a while you have that one team that got your number and you can't do nothing about it. So they have some challenges coming up in this schedule as we can see. But again, if you're OKC, you're not worried about any of these games if you continue to pave your way and play the way that they're playing, man.
That's why I used to hate when a coach like it's about us. It doesn't matter who we're playing. As long as we do what we do, that's all that matters. And I think that's true more so than ever with this team. If they go out there and they play their style, they play the way they do, they get up and down. SGA is SGA, and they are fully loaded. They haven't even been fully loaded. Like Lou, they don't play for the fourth quarter. I think the point differential last year was 12. Now this year it's 17. They are blowing teams out. They are dominating teams. Like I said, their only loss is by 2 points on a second night of it back-to-back. So I can't pick out one of those other than just like a scheduling issue because it doesn't matter who they play.
That's a fact.
It's almost getting to the point where I'd rather just kind of fast forward through the season and get to the end because it's almost like a waste of time. I mean, this team hasn't really seen a challenge yet outside of that Blazers team, and like you said, that's more credit to the back-to-back. But they're showing they're the clear-cut favorite to win it again, and it's nobody close right now.
Not so fast, though, fellas, because we did have a hot take.
Oh.
Paul Pierce said that he feels like the Celtics are the only team that can stand in front of OKC and derail in their dynasty over the next 5 years. We buying stock on that?
Boogie, you love the Celtics.
I'll be honest. From the video I saw from Jason Tatum, training, coming from a guy that also suffered an Achilles injury, it's night and day from where I was coming back to where he is right now. And obviously, that was years ago. Medicine is continuing to evolve and get better and better. So what I just saw is definitely a chance for him to return this season. It would definitely change the whole trajectory of that Celtics season. And on top of that, the Celtics are actually doing their thing right now. They're about 3rd, 4th in the East. Nobody was really expecting that, and they kind of got signed off on early. So it is some truth to what Paul is saying.
Well, the Celtics as we know it, the group as we know it, it's different. Drew Holiday is gone. Al Horford is gone. We don't know what version of Jason Tatum we're going to see. I got high hopes for JT when he returns, and he's going to be in the form that we've grown accustomed to seeing him. JB is going to do his thing. But the identity of that group as we know it has changed so much. So I got a lot of questions. And if that's going to be the team, I got to see them be a standstill, dominant basketball team in the Eastern Conference before we start putting them against OKC and derailing a dynasty when we're looking at a team that's looking at making history this year.
Yeah, give me the Thunder in 5 or possibly,
you know what I mean?
Or possibly
like,
4. Like, I've seen too much, and again, I think the Celtics are doing really, really well with having so much change and so much adjustment with losing the guys that Lou mentioned. Now, what version are we going to get of Jason Tatum? The video looked great. I saw the video too. It looks awesome, and I hope he comes back. And this season looks like it's giving him something hopeful to come back. If he was on these other teams, I would say don't rush it. You guys have no chance if you're up and down. They become a good team to a really, really good team if Jason Tatum can come and give them 75-80% for the rest of the season of what he gave last year and the years before. So I do like it, but if we're comparing them to the Thunder, I don't even think it's close, dude.
But we can all agree if he did return,
it changes things.
They're the clear cut to come out of the East, though.
It changes things for sure. Anthony Simons has got to be a little bit better off the bench, but Pritchard now the starting role, he's playing good. Derek White, you know what you're going to get from. The depth has been the issue always for me with the Celtics. But now they have Jordan Walsh. The kid, he's playing good. He's getting some good games. Sam Hauser, he's got to be better. He's got to make more shots. But it's the depth for me versus the glaring hole and the biggest difference between these two teams.
It's not clear cut for me, and I say that because they weren't the team that came out of the East last year. And this year, they're not dominating the East. So I got to see some of that writing on the wall. Like, I believe in the Celtics when they have JT and JB together. They're a dynamic duo that's obviously won a lot of games, and they got hardware to prove it. But when you have one guy out of the lineup and the rest of the group is still there, you kind of want to see some of those telltale signs of being that basketball team. And we know how much of an impact Jason Tatum will have on any team, and the Boston Celtics included. But as it stands with this group, they're not the clear-cut favorites in the East right now. So when you bring him back, I just got to see it. So I wouldn't say clear-cut, but I do give them a better opportunity to be that team when Jason Tatum is in that lineup.
Okay, so watching the Thunder, if you had to, and this is going to be very hard because there's not many, what's the one critical thing that you could say about the Thunder? Like, where do they struggle? Is it
the
relying?
popcorn is way too high. They got to bring the prices down on the popcorn.
It's because they're 15th in rebounding. They shot 33% from the three last year. Have upped that to 38. Is that they're relying too much on SGA? Like, is it health?
That's one thing you can point at. Like, they rely on his scoring a lot, and every night you can put 30 points in the books for him. And they expect him he's going to take 25 to 30 attempts. But that works for them. That's been their pedigree, and that's something that they've been able to lean on and had a lot of success in doing that. So when you look at OKC, it just looks like the perfect storm. If you're going to criticize one thing, I don't know what it would be. If they I like them leaning on SGA, so I don't see that as a thing that can be a problem. 15th in rebounding, that can kind of be misleading because it ain't a lot to rebound. That can kind of be misleading as well.
A lot of makes.
It's a lot of makes. You look at point differentials. You can look at all of these other things. They're doing everything in their power to just be a team that has blinders on when it comes to the goal that's at hand and trying to win another championship. I can't find a lot of holes in this team.
It's also, too, like you think about the load management because the youth, that doesn't exist with them because, first of all, they're just beating people's ass where they're not even playing the fourth quarter. Last night, SGA played 26 minutes.
That's crazy.
Chet played 24 minutes. They won by 50, bro. So they're doing it in such a dominant and aggressive fashion early.
Efficient.
And they're so deep. Like, think about last night, no Isaiah Joe, no Hartenstein. It doesn't matter because there's the next two guys up. Then the next game, like Caruso's been out. It doesn't matter because another guy steps up. So they're built to win in the regular season, which they clearly are, and they're built to win in the postseason with their style and with their talent and with SGA. So I don't know what their holes are. They don't have any. Let
me ask you this though: if your team's around the league and you're seeing them on this historical run, what is your process? What is your process of thinking as far as this team? Like, do you wait this dynasty out, or do you try to make a big splash and say, you know what, I'm gonna be disruptive right now, and I'm gonna make a big move in a trade network?
For the bottom teams, you wait. I mean, I don't think you really have a choice. And the scary part about this OKC team, they're gonna continue to get better. There's one guy in their prime right now, and that's SGA. So the guys that are there are only going to get better. And on top of that, they have more draft capital to add even more talent in the future.
So even if you wait it out, you're going to wait it out.
It's going to be a long wait. It's going to be a very, very long wait.
They're only getting better, so you can't wait. So it's like if I look at a team like Houston, that's a team, and Denver. Those are teams I think that they could beat them in a series. Obviously, Denver took them to 7 games last year. They have Jokic, the best player in the NBA. If I have a vet team that's big and long, like a Houston, they can make them a little uncomfortable, right? Guys like Jabari, guys like Sengun, Thompson can kind of match the athleticism there. They match up a little bit. So if I'm one of those teams, I feel like I can compete, but it just sucks because they're so good now and they're going to be so good later. They have the Clippers pick, which is going to be a great pick. Like there's no holes in their present, there's no holes in their future, which is scary for the league.
I don't see a team that can make a trade that puts them in a position to beat them in any scenario.
No,
I don't see it.
Me either.
Yeah,
No.
like if you put Giannis on the Rockets, but then they lose 4 or 5 of those other role players, like it's tough because then their depth is an issue, and then the Thunder really have the advantage. So
Yeah.
I don't get it, but last night there was a little mix-up, and
Let's get into some violence.
It was involved with the Grayson Allen. He shoves Chet Holmgren and was given a flagrant 2. When it's something like this, when it's a guy like Grayson Allen who has a history for this, and there was a play before where Chet kind of pushed in the back. What do you think of this, Boogie? You're our in-house violence guy.
I mean,
That ain't a flagrant 2 to me.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm the
I'll give
wrong.
you, a flagrant 1 is cool. A 2.
It's because it's Grayson Allen?
2 for an
Or
ejection.
is it because the play before where this is a clear retaliation?
I think his reputation and his credit goes into account. And listen, referees are human, right? So when they're looking at these things, they're considering the person, they're considering the action, and I think that's what they look at. I don't think this is a flagrant 2. I don't think this is enough to be ejected. But like I said, when you're looking at the person and you look at the history of the fouls that GA has had over the course of his career, they had to take that into account.
And it was 94-58 at the time of this, so I think they wanted to keep it under control from getting out of hand. So just get him out.
It was already out of hand
before it gets too ugly.
And you know what? I'm not mad at him for taking this foul with that score being what the score is. Somebody got to do something.
Yeah. That's how. I mean, what do you expect? Like,
yeah, we're losing by 50. At some point, something's got to give.
You have to do something. Like, you have to show some form of fight. And I mean, to say that's a flagrant 2, I don't know.
Well, on the bright side, they got $50,000 for that beatdown for the tournament.
But, I mean, it's a good consolation.
An ejection for that?
And he's going to give about 35. He's going to give 35K of it back. Coming up next, we got to go to break, but things got a little uncomfortable in Cleveland during
We love a good players only
session.
meeting.
We'll be right back.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
Welcome back, everybody. We are now moving on to Say What. The Cavaliers had an uncomfortable film session yesterday. Followed it up with a players-only meeting. We've seen this happen a bunch of times before, and we've all been there before. Is this something that can actually turn a season around, or just more eye roll, shut up, we know what we need to do?
It can help, but film sessions are supposed to be uncomfortable. I think those are the meetings that make you a better basketball team. It's the point of the film session is to look at the mistakes that you've made and try to fix and correct some of those things, especially when, you're trying to have a goal of winning a championship, right? And you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. You qualify to be in that conversation. You have those goals and those aspirations. So every film session supposed to be uncomfortable to an extent where guys are getting called out for missing defensive assignments, maybe not swinging the ball to an open guy on the offensive end, or turning a good shot into a great shot. All of those things can be uncomfortable when you're watching on film, when you're trying to hold guys accountable. Now, what makes these things really uncomfortable and where we started having that conversation is when you're not playing to the best of your abilities. That's where these film sessions can get uncomfortable. But I like it. I like the fact that, Cleveland put themselves in a position to address a lot of the elephants in the room, to get themselves back on track to be the team that we knew that they can be when they started the season 15-0 last year. I like it.
I agree. And you speak on being uncomfortable, but the part I feel like you forgot to add is you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Thanks.
And I think that's what, pushes things in the right direction. Credit to the Cavs for, coming together and doing that. That's a sign of maturity. That's a sign of accountability. And that's a sign of a team that wants to, right their wrongs right now. So it can absolutely be a great thing for them. But I've also been a part of, player meetings to where it went completely opposite, and you got nothing from it. So, it can go either way. Obviously, it's about how the guys in that meeting and in that group receive the message. But it
Chandler,
can help and it can also hurt.
Yeah, Chandler, give me your opinion on some of your experiences with players only meetings, because they can go really positive, or they can go really left, really, really fast. Give me some of your experiences with that.
I think it's who is the messenger. Like we just saw and with the Clippers, Chris Paul, that message with that voice,
exactly.
it didn't have the same weight in that locker room with that vet kind of, that vet locker room with the guy that wasn't playing, who was a Hall of Famer, who they probably do respect. But that was probably like a eye roll, like, buddy, you're not playing. Like, I don't want to hear from you right now. We're already losing. Like, buzz off. I've had situations like I remember in Houston, Kevin McHale, Hall of Fame coach, he was our coach. He had exhausted his voice. He had told us everything we need to do. We need to hear from James Harden. We need to hear from Dwight Howard. We want to hear from the guys that are on the floor, that I'm in the trenches with, that I'm losing with, to change things. So again, obviously a lot comes on Kenny Atkinson. I picture this was a lot of Donovan Mitchell talking, like it usually comes from the best player. So that's what I had the experience with. And again, you're right. This could either fracture and you can kind of split apart more, or you can grow together and roll. I think with a team with this talented, that had such high expectations, They're in the 7th seed. They're 14-11, and we all pretty much thought they were going to be a top team, top 2, top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, and they haven't reached those standards. So I think it's good to have this before the season gets any further and any longer, and they know they're good enough to turn it around. So sometimes all it takes is a meeting like this, but it could go either way. But I imagine it's the best players. It's Evan Mobley. It's Darius Garland. It's the leaders of that team talking.
It can either go either way, but I think it comes down to the mentality of the team. Like, if you got a loser mentality, it doesn't matter who's talking. You're going to come out of that meeting as a loser, right?
Absolutely.
But when you have a team that's connected and understand they're underperforming and they want to be better and they want to get back on track, that's when you get the most out of those meetings, you know. And they can come down to basketball issues. It can come down to personal issues. It can come down to anything. I remember being a Laker and D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young, they had their mix-up. We had to have team meeting after team meeting after team meeting about that because we wanted to get some type of synergy back in the building where everybody can calm down and relax. And that was a personal issue. That wasn't a basketball issue.
And that's a prime example of one of the meetings not working.
It didn't work.
By the way, I've had a situation in Memphis where we were losing, we were on a losing streak, and frustrations just boiled over, and it wasn't even a team meeting. You know, after you lose, a coach will come in, right, and they'll just kind of say whatever. And I remember Coach Fizdale came in and he said, "What do you guys have to say to yourself?" And I remember, I think I've told this story before, but Omri Caspi and Garrett Temple, two of the nicest guys I've ever met, they were on my team. It was the craziest, best, one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. They literally just squared up. They started fighting. They did what they had to do. And they shook hands, and it was fine after that. There was no hard feelings. They cleared the air in the room, and that kind of went the other way. So like that worked, and that helped by doing something like that. And you know what? We won the next game.
Y'all ever seen a guy two teammates go ahead and throw hands and get it out?
Those two, Omri Caspi's two.
I was a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Who'd you fight, Book?
you don't have to Google that.
You know what I say is
I
there?
don't want to talk about it.
We'll save that for
Did you win?
We'll say that for another time. Moving on.
And you don't want to be the resident. You don't want to be the resident violence guy.
That's why I'm trying to let him off the hook.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to change.
I'm trying to
change my image.
Changed man.
Yeah.
Next thing on Say What? Joe Mazzulla, he says that Jason Tatum's return is up to Jason Tatum and when he's ready. And the only thing that he cares about is his presence and his leadership. How you feeling about that, Boogie? What do you think about Mazzulla's comments on Jason Tatum's return?
I feel like that's a great way of not putting too much pressure on him.
Yeah.
You know, as the head coach, you know, obviously you would love to have that talent on the floor and help this team, you know, continue out through this season. But, you know, you respect where he's at right now with his injury and recovering and trying to make a return to the game of basketball. So I think that's a great way of not putting pressure on his team. I mean, on his star player. But also letting them know, you know, you are important to us. You play a huge role in this team, and regardless if you're healthy or not, your presence is appreciated. So that's what I got from that message.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he deserves that right. He deserves that respect to kind of make his own timetable. And by no means are they going to rush back Jason Tatum, right? He means too much for this team this year, and he means too much for this team in the next couple of years. And I think just having him in that locker room, guys seeing how hard he is training to get back, seeing videos that got posted the other day, that alone gives the team juice. That alone shows you how much this guy wants to be back on the floor with his guys on the court. So I like what he said. Again, they're also starting to roll, they're starting to peak, and they know that with Jason Tatum, they're an even better team. So obviously there's doctors and there's medical directors that are going to give the overall approval of this, but I like that my head coach says, you know what, it's on him. He's an all-star, he's an Olympian, he is an all-world type of guy. He controls his timetable. No medical, no stats, no analytics. This is on Jason to figure out.
Yep, I agree with both of you guys. I'm down for it because we've all seen scenarios where your coach and the organization and the training staff, they rush you back, and that puts you in a detrimental spot in your career because they have goals as a franchise where they want to continue to keep winning, opposed to putting your health and your career to the forefront of that. So I like the fact that he's being patient with him, and his messaging is, listen, I care about him being present, being in the facility, and I care about his voice in the locker room still with these guys, opposed to him being out on the court before he needs to be out there. So I like the messaging coming from his head coach. If I'm a star player like this and then I'm Jason Tatum, I enjoy that, and that's giving me peace of mind to continue to go through my physical therapy and getting back on the court and being able to be whole.
I agree.
Okay, we had another zinger from the Max Kellerman, Rich Paul interview. Max Kellerman says that ideally Austin Reeves would be a sixth man on a championship team, and Rich Paul agreed with Max. So do you
on a championship team?
And again, now he's averaging 28, 7, and 5. He's having a career year, but are they a championship team?
On a championship team. As how this team is built, he has to be a starter. Like, he has to be a starter on this team. Like, Marcus Smart had a great night last night, throwing in 26 points. But are you going to consistently get that out of Marcus Smart in the way that he plays? Right. LaRavia has gone missing. That was another guy that we had high hopes for to be a bench spark for the Lakers. But you just haven't seen it consistently. To hold that crown as the sixth man on a team, you got to be able to be consistent. I used to always say, look, when I get out of bed, I got 20 on the board. Anything I get over 20 is a plus. You can bet your money on that. I'm going to be there, and that's going to be a consistent. Austin Reeves could be that consistent scorer and presence off the bench for a championship group. If this team isn't a contender, they need him in the starting lineup. They have to be top-heavy for them to be competitive, I think.
I think that's unfair to Austin.
Yeah.
I think this kid has shown that he can be, a go-to guy on the winning team. He's improved every single season. Obviously, in certain situations, that would make sense. But with his growth and the way he's continuing to improve and the trajectory that he's on right now, I have to disagree. I think he's earned the right to be a starter. I think he's a household name at this point in his career, and I think he'll only continue to get better. I think opposite, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm with Boogie.
I'm with Boogie here, too. I also think the timing of it is strange. The person saying it is strange, and I know Rich Paul has a man that wears many hats.
Well, Max Kellerman said it. Don't put this on Rich Paul.
But Rich Paul agreed.
Okay.
So I just think it's a weird conversation where the leader of my team, our LeBron James, my teammate, his best friend, his agent, is saying anything negative about our team or my career best season during this stretch of the season. And obviously, we're fighting for a home court advantage. We are fighting to kind of contend for a championship this year. So I just think it's just a little strange. And I like Rich Paul. I respect Rich Paul. He kills it. It's just weird them talking about their team in the midst of the season.
He did say this is his podcast.
We have to compartmentalize this, right?
No, I know, and I get that.
When we're watching two guys talk sports in a podcast setting and not in their professional atmospheres, we got to respect it as such. If these two guys are sitting on the couch, then they're having a beer and they're just freely talking about basketball with cameras running, we gotta respect their positions. Absolutely. With that, because when it comes to Rich Paul, he's always worn a bunch of hats. He's always been interested. He's always been a personality.
Absolutely.
Right? Before he was an agent, Rich Paul was a personality. He was somebody that was always entertaining, that always had an opinion, and always had an educated opinion.
Yeah.
So when he's talking like this, outside of his professional realm, I enjoy to see some of his takes be a little bit more honest and kind of shocking when you hear some of the things that goes against his clients. I like to hear him talk about basketball in a fashion of being a fan.
And you got to appreciate a guy, even being willing to put on that hat and express himself in that way. Yeah. Obviously, he can get a lot of heat for, being in the position that he's in, representing the guy that he does, but he's still putting that to the side. He's being vulnerable to, this sport, and he's allowing us to see another side and to also, have a chance to get into his brain a little bit. So he is a very knowledgeable man, and he's also very intelligent. So I'm not mad at this, and I totally get it. But at the same time, you can't help but think this is a bit.
Yeah, but think I'm going to see this guy. I'm going to see this guy in the tunnel the next game, and this is weird. He thinks it should be a sixth man. He doesn't think our team's going to have to win a championship. I just think I respect what Rich Paul does, everything he does, and when he speaks as a podcaster, I can't help but just see Rich Paul, the agent.
Exactly.
So I know if that's how he's speaking. If that's how he's speaking as a podcaster, that's how he thinks as an agent. So I know it's two different roles.
Not necessarily, because when you're an agent, you have a lot of factors that go into decision-making and the situations that some of your clients are going to be in. When you're podcasting, you're just popping it. You're just talking, and you're having a good time. Now, where it gets interesting is some of this talking, he can kind of sway what actually happens behind the scenes. But if we're just talking and we're having a conversation and you're asking me my opinion and we're going back and forth kind of in a setting where it's not, obviously the cameras are on and it's a podcast, but if I'm just being honest and I'm being vulnerable and I'm allowing you to hear what I got to think about things that don't necessarily affect me and my clients, I look at it.
Okay, can I ask you a question then? What if Rich Paul was Austin Reeves' agent? Would he have said this?
Well, he said LeBron can't win a championship. That's worse.
But would he say Austin Reeves should be a sixth man if he was repping
No,
him?
because his 4%.
There is some bias. There's some bias. There's some favoritism there as the podcaster and the agent. Is my point.
But at the same time, I respect his professionalism too much.
But he also knows Austin Reeves ain't never going to be a sixth man at this point.
And no, he's definitely like a Mark Bartelstein guy. He ain't going to Richmond. Yeah, it ain't happening. But that was my only point. And I don't think it was malicious at all, but that was what I said. Okay, last one. Another Austin. Austin Rivers believes SGA would be the biggest star in the NBA if he weren't Canadian, if he was more active on social media, and he played in a hotter market than OKC.
SGA is active on social media.
What about the Canadian thing? Does that matter at all? He doesn't wear Team USA on his chest?
I don't think so. I think it's actually a plus. If you've ever played for the Toronto Raptors like I did, and you know what the Canadian fan base as a country as a whole looks like, that is a plus for the NBA. That if you're able to get people excited from Alberta to Toronto to Vancouver to Montreal to all of these places, Quebec and all of that. Listen, I've done the Canadian tours in the preseason, and these people love their basketball. So if you're telling me the best player in the world is from that soil, that's only a plus for me. That brings more viewership, more eyes to the product, and SGA is the perfect guy to bridge that gap. So I don't look at it that way.
I agree with all of that, but the part that stood out to me is, you know, what market he plays in. And I absolutely think market matters when it comes to your stardom. If you put
him on the Knicks, put him on the Lakers.
Put him on Chicago, Lakers. He's a global superstar now, but it's times 10.
What commercial isn't he on already?
I think it's times 10.
The
market definitely matters.
It's not going to be like more. What else can he do? He's on AT&T commercials. He's on every commercial that you can think of. He's even on commercials with his teammates.
I do agree, though, but like
some of our biggest stars are from small markets.
Yeah, like Anthony Edwards is in Minnesota. It's not the biggest market,
LeBron
but I feel
James
like he's
is one
more
of the
famous
biggest,
than SGA.
LeBron James spent majority of his career in Cleveland, and he was one of the biggest. So
I mean,
I agree
been
with
famous
y'all
since he was 12, so that's a little different.
I just think at this point the small market thing is kind of overblown, especially with where the game has gone. The game has gone global. It hasn't
I agree.
When it comes to the small market thing. Even that small market is one of the best markets that we have
that makes sense.
When it comes to fan bases in the NBA. So now, with everything being so digital, I don't think it really matters.
That makes a lot
I
of sense.
also think of like the Thunder and like Kentucky more so than Canada when I think of SGA. I don't even kind of factor that in.
That's right.
We got to go to break. Coming up, is Knipple the next Klay Thompson?
Knipple?
We shall discuss.
Run it up, run it back.
Okay, Boogie, we're going to do a little segment called In or Out. Last season, you endorsed Ace Bailey to be the #1 pick in the draft over Cooper Flagg, even comparing him to T-Mac. Now, he started off slow. He's averaging just over 13 points over his last 13 games. Are you in or are you out on him being a future superstar?
Oh, I'm in. I think he has superstar potential. I stand by what I say as far as, you know, he has a lot of flash of T-Mac in his game. Even before he was drafted, I had a chance to kick it with T-Mac, and we were in Macau, and we were having a conversation about him, and, you know, he totally agreed as well. So I stand by my statement. I definitely think he's a star in the making. And, you know, obviously his rookie season, he's not in the most winning situation right now, but he has star written all over him, and I believe the Utah Jazz feel the same way about him.
And also, 13 points is nothing to really sniff your nose at. You know what I mean? In 10 points, he can play better, but in his last few, he's closer to 13 to 14, and he's a young guy. And when you're in Utah and you're around a bunch of young guys and you're a young crew, you got a lot of learning to do. So the fact that he's having any type of impact is a major plus. You look at Cooper Flagg, he got real star power and vets around him. It's a different vibe over there, so that affords him a little bit more leeway to go out there and play at a different clip. So I still feel like he can be a future superstar in this league, but we just were talking about markets, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy, if he can turn up Utah, that puts all of this to rest, and we'll be proven right.
Yeah, he's on a bad team in a bad market with an awesome owner, so I'll give them that. And I think his whole thing, the stigma about him coming out of the draft.
That was nice to say that about your friend. That was dope. Shit on
shout
everybody
out
and shout out
everything
your guy.
sucks besides Ryan.
Yeah, I rock with that.
My point, coming out of the draft, though, there was all the negative things. He didn't want to be there, and I don't think that helped his case before he played a possession in the NBA. his character being questioned, him not wanting to be there. And so I think he came in kind of behind the 8 ball with just negativity, and he's shown flashes of brilliance. And the kid, there's no doubt he's talented. He's so long, he can handle it. He's got little KD, Paul George in his game too. Like, he has the, no doubt, potential to be a superstar. It's just, can they build around him? Can they win games? And will we ever see him do it in the playoffs on the biggest stage?
There it is. TBD. Moving on, rookie Knueppel leads all rookies in made threes and is tied for 3rd in the NBA while shooting nearly 40% from the 3. Are y'all in and out on him being the next Klay Thompson? And I'm gonna throw this follow-up in there because Reggie Miller suggested that he's gonna break Steph Curry's 3-point record. We in, we out, we buying that. What we doing?
I don't like to do the compare game, especially to those two guys who I think are the best 1 and 2 shooters ever. So this guy's a rookie. He has shown flashes. He can really shoot the ball. This dude is a robot. He is methodical. He gets to a spot. He rises up. He's strong. 40%, and at the clip she's taking.
The next Klay Thompson is what I want to know.
Right now, I can't say that. I can't say that.
That's where the.
I can't say it. But you know what's crazy? I'm fascinated with the whole Team USA and who's going to make. And a guy I respect who works in the NBA said, you know who's a dark horse to make the Team USA in 2028 because we need shooting? Knueppel. And I was like, huh? And then he was like, watch, this kid is different. He's a plug and play. He can shoot, and that's exactly what Team USA would need. So again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. But if that,
Look,
this
you
guy,
see the look on my face.
I know. If this guy who works in like the front office of an NBA and they see that, and this guy is just continue every game getting better, and from everything you hear, he's just the hardest working, best kid ever. This kid is a great player, but to say you're the next Klay Thompson,
to be the next,
let's just give him time. Let's just enjoy him.
The next Klay Thompson is a long.
Let's just watch him grow.
And these guys are still currently playing, so those records are only going to continue to exceed. But no knock to him. He got a lot of work to do, but to compare it to the greats at this early in this stage is one, foolish, and also a compliment at the same time. It goes to show that this kid has a lot of talent, but he has a long way to go, and we got to respect the greats who are still doing it at a high level right now.
Don't put that type of pressure on him.
That's a lot of pressure.
Because fans start to look at you different. Think about all the guys that's come up over the years that they've said, he's going to be the next Jordan. And you compare him to Jordan, and he's a really good player, but if you don't see Michael Jordan in him, then it's like, nah, I'm cool. Like, if Knueppel falls short of a Klay Thompson comparison or not even sniffing this Steph Curry record that Reggie Miller put on him, then you're looking at him from that lens. I don't think that's fair for these young guys.
Yeah,
Allow them to develop and be the players that they are.
I agree.
All right, we got to go to break. Coming up, more Run It Back.
Run it back, run it up, then run it back.
Okay, Spurs, Thunder, who you got? Kind of a doozy.
You know who we got.
I think it's 10-point spread. It's a lot.
Yeah. The writing's on the wall, Chandler. I like OKC.
I'm rolling with the champs.
Okay, now Mitch
And
Johnson.
I would take the 10.
Mitch Johnson said that there's a chance that Wemby could play. Does that change anything? Maybe just the spread?
Nope, not until somebody proves us different.
Yeah.
Not until somebody proves us different.
Only one team been able to
Doesn't
do
matter.
it so far, and that's the Trailblazers.
Yep. Y'all better.
I selfishly just want to see him play. Have you ever seen him play in person? I've never seen him in person.
Who?
Wemby.
Absolutely. I saw him play when he was when he played against the G League Ignite.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw him
We
earlier.
got 10 seconds,
Okay.
but I want to hear about that.
Well, there it is.
All right,
Great
guys.
show.
It was awesome.
Well done. We'll be
Beads.
back.
Much love.
Beads. Get your
See you
keys.
soon.
We'll see you in Vegas.